Malika, thank you so much for joining today. It's been my long time thought process on how richer learning can be when it is in the form of a learning discussion. So this platform is Thoughts Conversations is like bring your story, so it could be a light to somebody else. So to begin with, a childhood memory of yours that has shaped you to who you are today.
First of all, thank you, Aparajita, on this initiative of yours. You've been a learning and development professional, and you know, doing this alongside a full-time job. I think that speaks a lot about your commitment. And thank you so much for reaching out and trying to get diverse people. Especially, I don't think anybody working in the IT sector or consulting reaches out to people in the social sector for a learning purpose. They may. So thank you so much, and
Most
I
welcome.
hope our discussions mm, enrich a few people, and we also through questions get to learn from them.
Yeah. Learn what AI and chatbot does not give us.
Oh, yes, and we also would be very keen to see how AI can actually inform beyond writing reports and presentations, the social
Yeah.
sector. So that is for another day. So
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Uh-huh.
coming back to childhood memories, uh, I, when I was young and we were in school, my sister and I,
Okay.
there used to be parent-teacher meetings, and while we were in a convent school, and not all, we belong to Udaipur in Rajasthan, a beautiful city, and a lot of people were, there, many children had homemakers. Their mothers were homemakers. Not many were working. So my mom used to teach in a PG college. She used to teach English, and whenever she
Okay.
used to come for the parent-teacher meetings, a lot of teachers had been taught by her. So they used to greet her with so much respect, and all the children used to, look in awe. So I was very
Okay.
proud, and we used to look forward for to parent-teacher meetings, and our mom landing up in school, and everybody was so appreciative.
Yeah.
So that inspired me a lot, and later on, my cousin, my mother's eldest sister's cousin, she went into engineering. She did
Okay.
electronics engineering from at that time MNREC Allahabad, and later she went and joined as a scientist in ISRO. Of course, later
Wow.
then she
Okay.
shifted to
Started
the
building
corporate
rockets.
sector, but it was really a matter of pride for us, and therefore I also got the motivation to pursue sciences, and thereafter pursue dairy technology, and of course later I also did management. But uh, there was a lot of impact of women uh, in my life, in
Beautiful.
my family, and that has always been a very gone a long way in shaping whom I am.
Who you are today. Inspiring. Thank you, Malika. What's that? Even before we dive into the topic for today, it's a very beautiful topic that we are going to talk about. But what's your instant mojo or like a quick burst of energy, confidence, or spark that helps you immediately feel motivated or creative and ready to perform at your best? So before you actually structure it, so how do you get it? You'll have to tell me how you get it and then how you keep it. And then also, in case you lose it, then how do you get it back? So you're going to structure it that way and then, give it out.
That's a very interesting question. So, in personal life or in professional life, there are many instances. Uh, there are highs and lows, and sometimes you feel really
Yeah.
stuck and all. So, what I realized was that a very strongly brewed cup of nice tea is my instant mojo. So, whenever I'm
Um,
feeling very low, the first thing I would like to do is reach out for a cup of tea,
see,
and that's an instant mood
mojo.
lifter. My
So you
husband
like to
makes
have it or you like to serve it to me, Pankaj, Niyati?
I would love to, and yes, my husband makes very good tea, and over the
Okay.
years, it is he measures everything, and it is so consistent in taste and flavor and color
Oh.
as well. So that's my
Yeah.
favorite tea. Then, no, I love traveling and meeting people, especially interacting with young people. And
Ah,
fortunately, I've been working in the social sector, and this
right.
involves a lot of travel. So when there are phases where I feel very low, I try to plan some travel, uh, talk to our team members, other people,
Ah,
and just listen to them. And sometimes it has always given different perspectives, and
yes.
it has helped me a lot. So
Wonderful. Okay.
connecting with people, traveling, seeing new things,
And the tea.
and of course the tea.
Wonderful. So when you want
So
to
I'm
get your
able to
more
keep it because you can always make another cup of tea, and you
tea.
can always another plan a travel. So that's how one needs to make it work.
Okay. So that's a nice, nice thought. Like, you have given a variety of options to get back your mojo and put it up. So very nice. All right. So I think we can now dive into it. So what first drew you to the work that, in community-based microfinance, rural livelihoods? So how did that, get into you, or like what drew you into that?
So I'll also explain a little bit what is community-based microfinance and all. But first of all, what drew me to working with women and on economic issues of rural population. So when I was doing my BTech in dairy technology, and later on when I pursued rural management at Institute of Rural Management, IRMA Anand, I got the opportunity to see how dairy cooperatives in villages have brought in stable incomes and to
Ah,
a lot of smallholder rural producers and especially women. So, and they've been able to do so much from this income in terms of building houses, sending their children to school. So, what I felt was, and for many years, that unless we have uh, uh, I would not say poverty reduction, but people are able to earn decent incomes. They have enough to invest in their quality of life improvement. Nothing much will work. So that's how, while social sector has a lot of streams, there is
yeah.
education, water, nutrition, but I was inclined towards working on economic development, and based
Okay.
on what was my experience, I had seen that cooperatives, or essentially when people come together to form their own institutions, which is also the principle of community based microfinance, I thought that this would be an area where I would be able to also get some professional satisfaction. So that's how I landed up there. But of course, over the years, I realized that there are also other issues where one needs to work in parallel. But yes, this is how I landed up in this
Okay.
sector.
I mean, so it's like, when you are, when you see women empowerment, or, something that gives you happiness. So it's a good thing. So Pankaj, do you have anything to, add to what Malika's, talking about, or you have something that you want to ask before we go into the next question?
Thank you, Pankaj, for joining.
Yeah, hi,
And
Aparajita. So, first of all, thanks to you, Aparajita, for having this conversation, like bringing people from social development who are working with, and uh, and raising their voice, and having the outreach to people who are not associated with this sector.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. I wouldn't have had an idea about this until I met Malika, to be frank.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing, like when I heard about this, like you will be holding this podcast, and what could I ask Malika about this? So one thing, like you mentioned in the starting, that AI capturing most of the work. So one thing which I also think sometime that with so many different avenues of career now available with for the youth, so how the youth can still resonate to pursue a career in rural development or social development, what can be the motivating factor? So that I will want to know from I want to hear from Malika about that also. So
Wonderful.
that is one thing, and then as the conversation goes on, we'll bring in more aspect.
Yes,
Yeah.
you definitely have a lot of things to talk about. Yes.
Thank you, Pankaj. And Pankaj himself is an engineer, and he's also done an interesting work with artificial intelligence on water, and we
Ah,
someday we'll talk about it. And very
yes.
passionate. So I think that's a very valid question, Pankaj. And when there are so many avenues, why should anybody work? And there have been also, when pay packages in service sector, etc., had gone through the roof, why would any qualified professional land up here? So and that's one thing which I was when I was interviewed at IRMA. I also realized. So when the selection panel and later on the professors also said, see, we are not looking for people who are, coming to the rural sector with a welfare approach. We are looking for people who feel that it is a profession where they can apply the skills they have learned and in a complex situations and uncertain with less resources.
Mhm.
So I think people, especially the young, I would highly recommend that whether coming from different streams, whether engineering or medical or from the creative background, if they can spend a few years of their life, say 3 years, when especially they do not have much of family responsibilities, then if they spend it in rural areas, especially in some state which is, different from theirs, it will give a lot of perspective and will enrich you personally, professionally, both. And that's what I also benefited from. One of the professors, when I was passing out, she advised me that, why don't you take a location? I was apprehensive that how will I work in Andhra Pradesh? The language is different. But she said that, things can be learned. And my 2 year stint in Andhra Pradesh definitely enriched me a lot because,
Wow.
and at a later point in your career, when you are looking at larger responsibilities, the perspective and experience of working in a very different, diverse culture, socio-economic profile of people benefits you. So you may change your course of career later, but in case whatever stream you worked, if you work a few years in rural areas, spend time with people, you will be able to do much more. Uh, you would have much more insights in later on in your career is what would be
Beautiful.
my advice and what how I would pitch it to say young people who are trying to decide on a career. So
Wonderful. So, rural experience at an early career stage
yes,
is going to be benefiting you in your goal, in your forward career life.
yes, it
Wonderful.
does, it does.
Beautiful. All right. So, moving on, how is community-based microfinance different from traditional banking models?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And, this is a relatively complex term, but commonly used in the rural development or social sector. See, traditional banking involves that you open an account in the bank, you save some money, and banks also lend you. So, as individual customers. Now, how do they lend? How do they decide? They decide it if you are a salaried employee, they see
Hmm.
if there's a regular cash flow, or if they see the transactions in your banks, or in case you're reaching out for a loan when you don't have any of this, or it's a large size of loan, they also see what is the purpose. Say, for example, you are buying a car or you want to purchase a house. So in those cases, the asset, which is the car or the house, gets hypothecated, or you're setting up a factory. Now, what happens in case of the poor?
Microfinance.
Yeah, especially in rural areas. Now, in the last few years with the Jan Dhan Yojana and all, everybody does have account, and cash transfers have also led to a lot of people now have, more than 95% do have accounts as per various studies. But earlier, the issue was, first, they did not have an account, and because they didn't have so much money, bank branches were very far. Secondly, banks were really reluctant to lend to the poor. Why? Because A, they were very small amounts. Then they were not very sure how anybody would repay because of the uncertainty in agriculture and all. So that's why traditional banking is about lending directly to a customer. In community based microfinance, and that's where the origin also lies, people, the poor are not able to get access to banking services, especially credit, on
Okay.
their own. So they form groups and then they start saving and lending to themselves mutually, and over a period of time banks see the transaction of the group and they take their comfort in the mutual collateral, and then they lend.
Okay.
So this is basically a two-step model of linking with banks. So
Beautiful. So, I mean, you get to know each other, and then that you build a trust.
yes, so mutual trust and mutual guarantee are the principles of microfinance. And there, of course, there is community-based microfinance. There's also another uh, widely known Bangladesh model of microfinance, which is private uh, microfinance.
Okay.
But the principles are same. The members will we will stand as collateral for each other. So if one doesn't pay, the others will pay. And there is also going to be mutual monitoring. Say, for example, you've taken loan for a purpose. So whether you used it for that purpose, in case one doesn't use it, so the others will also not stand guarantee for them. So that's how it works,
Okay.
because the need is mutual.
Okay, beautiful. So, how does the trust and collective accountability play in repayment and empowerment?
So if you try to, define a community-based microfinance or self-help group as they are also referred to, uh, generally, of course, credit cooperatives or saving mutual, these cooperatives are also essentially community-based microfinance. Trust is the basic building block. See, what happens is that the members are the owners. If
Okay.
you form a cooperative or form a self-help group, it is not registered, but it is essentially a small group of people coming together. You are the members. You are the also the people who are governing. So
Okay.
so and it's a small group, and so therefore trust is the building block. Repayments are essential because unless people these are people who actually do not have access to banks readily, and that's why they have joined this microfinance. And
Right.
credit needs are required over a long term, because today you may require credit for, say, paying your child's school fee. Tomorrow you may need it for buying seeds for your agriculture
Hmm.
field. So if you default, then the doors get closed and you don't have much avenue. So that's why repayment in these kind of systems is very much ensured, and
Okay.
that is how the model has had very good repayments. And the government of India also in 2011 launched it into a very big program, the National Rural Livelihood Mission.
Okay. So, a doable, model is set.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's made sure that it is followed and completed.
And the bookkeeping and the accounting is also key. Regular accounting, regular recording of transactions, and these in a small group are also accessible to all the members. So that also helps build the trust.
Wonderful. So, how can we ensure that microfinance empowers rather than indebts vulnerable communities?
There's a very thin line between these. So now what I'll just try to also explain. So what is the difference between community-based microfinance and the uh, microfinance model the world over? In
Okay.
community-based microfinance, essentially it's a, like I said, it's a cooperative model. People come together and
Hmm.
they save and they lend to each other from their savings also. Okay, then they may get linked with the banks and that. But what happens is that when they charge interest to a member
Hmm.
after say covering their cost, if they pay somebody for writing books, or if there is some travel, refreshment, etc., the interest income stays with the group, and over a period of
Okay.
time it accumulates, and then you can also divide it among the members. So essentially you have also benefited from that as by taking credit, and eventually you are also receiving some part of the interest. In the other microfinance model world over, or what started in Bangladesh, essentially private companies or private trusts in different countries allow for different registrations under the different regulations. uh, they do not save. What they do is that they form these mutual collateral or mutual guarantee groups, and the lender is a private company or an external agency. So the
Okay.
entire interest which is charged goes to them. So this group
Okay.
never also saves or doesn't receive any share from the interest. So that model per se is exploitative. I would not say exploitative in nature, uh, because a lot of people still depend on that. But so this is one model how community-based microfinance by design is not exploitative. Now the other part is, see, we also when and over the years what has happened is also a lot of microfinance companies have started reaching out to SAG members because they are saying that uh, you know seeing that the repayment is good and trying to also offer them other loans. This is what is also happening happens with us. We receive phone calls for car loans and other unsolicited kind of
Okay.
loans. Sometimes uh, due to aspirations and other things, if that you take credit and you're not able to repay, one need not be judgmental about what is a luxury where you should not spend. But if you spend on things which are not very productive or wasteful expenditure, then you are
Hmm.
likely to get into a trap. So, for all the
Okay.
microfinance, any kind of models, financial literacy, knowledge about financial planning, budgeting is what is very essential. So, it
Okay.
has to be an informed choice, and that is why how we can prevent it from being exploitative. Otherwise,
Hmm.
if in case of, say, for example, like we see generally in insurance and all, a lot of information is hidden. So, in the case of,
Yes.
say, with private companies, etc., the non-banking financial companies, they also do not disclose a lot of processing charges or what the actual interest rate would work out to be, what is the penalties, and then it becomes exploit. So, being informed is very important. And for people who are not very educated from rural areas, there have to be programs to actually make them informed.
Got it. Yeah. So clear explanation works. Great.
Right.
So we have a lot of joiners here. So anybody have anything to ask Malika before we go ahead with the next set of questions? Okay.
I want to ask Malika ma'am,
Yes, Niyati, you can come
uh,
on camera and go ahead with your question.
uh, how can we ensure microfinance to its last mile delivery?
Okay. Do you mean to say that it reaches the most needy. Are you wanting
Yes,
to say that?
most needy and um, everyone.
Okay, universal access kind.
Yes, universal access.
So, while that's a good question, and I think still a lot of work needs to be done in this regard. So, while if you see the reach of self-help groups across India under the National Rural Livelihoods Mission, more than 10 crore households are now accessing this saving and credit facilities. There are around 91 lakh self-help groups. So if one household has 5 members, so it is reaching to say 50 crores. So one third of the country's population is covered under the big program. Having said that, there are areas even within groups, not everybody is able to take loans because of various reasons. Now, these reasons we've also done studies in this regard, and these reasons range from because a woman may be wanting to start an enterprise. She may be wanting to take loan to buy a buffalo or a cow. But if there is no household support, if she is alone, if there are, she doesn't get support from the family, uh, then it's difficult. So even if when it is available, they're not able to take. So in this is what I would define as issues where we also need to identify such people and help them with more than credit. Say it could be support for even counseling their families or linking them with some programs which where instead of credit they can get it on a grant so that they don't have that pressure to repay. So that universal access is still a challenge, and that's what I feel we need to identify. One is data, we need to identify within the groups also and then reach out to those households.
Oh,
So
that's an interesting fact. Okay. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Right. Okay. So thanks, Niyati. So you can reserve more of your questions. We still have time going down the conversation. So how have no self-help groups or community-based microfinance contributed to women empowerment specifically?
uh, and when we talk about empowerment, it is also a broad concept, and there are various dimensions to it. One is economic empowerment, which is directly attributable to, women are taking credit, they are using it for their livelihoods, they're setting up enterprises. But the other part, which is the social empowerment, I would like to dwell upon here
Okay.
more. And then, of course, there are studies which have shown that and we've also at Center for Microfinance, which I lead, we've done studies. We've seen that over the period of time, initially the loans are taken more for your small consumption purposes, emergency loan for, say, hospital or for even for meeting some daily food requirements. But over a
Okay.
period of time,
Hmm.
when the women are able to address these needs, the loans have been taken for productive purposes, say buying cattle or buying fodder, buying seeds, a borewell. So that's how economic empowerment has come because the credit has come uh, from the women being a member. Her position
Okay.
in the family has improved a lot.
Wow.
Studies have shown that the women report an increased say in family decision making, not only
Uh,
because also she is bringing credit uh, to the family. So this is one part. Economic empowerment is not only her family's income has improved, but her say has also
okay.
improved by virtue of this.
Okay. Her identity has also
Yes, in the
come to
family.
power.
And secondly, social empowerment is also very important because in rural areas, self help groups have been platforms of mutual support beyond savings credit, also. There are
Okay.
instances, I've seen them personally, women have come together to uh, complain against drinking water issues. They've staged
Community
dharnas at the
issues.
district collector. They've fought against this illegal liquor shops, and the SHGs
Wow.
have come together because when they realize that this is not, and they draw mutual strength from each other. So that's been very important. Then over the years, as the with the government also coming in a big way and promoting self-help groups, their federations, their the critical mass has increased at the village level, and you see that even panchayats are asking for their opinion. Their voice now matters because of
Wow.
their collective strength. And during my visits and many interactions, I have always asked this question: why do you, be what? Why do you feel the SHG is important, and how your life has changed? And there have been multiple answers that nobody would actually ask our opinion, but now our opinion matters. And I
Ah.
also remember one of the women said that so many people come to meet us, otherwise even if we would have died here, it doesn't matter to anybody. And it speaks a lot on this social capital which has been built in.
Wonderful.
So their voice is now recognized because they've come together. Yeah,
Beautiful. So, economical empowerment has led to social
social
empowerment
impact.
in women.
Yes.
Wonderful. I mean, it's so good to even hear about it. You know, you've experienced it, so I know
And
how.
I think that's what Pankaj was also trying to say, that through such talks, at least we are able to share with people that
Yeah,
there's so much
share.
good has also happened, and this is contributing a lot to making the rural economies vibrant. And,
Wow,
so that's a big contribution of women's groups and led by women.
self-help groups. Beautiful. So, what gaps but still exist in agriculture-based livelihoods, despite years of these, I mean, years of these development efforts?
So largely the credit and the rural economy is dependent on agriculture. More than 42% of our population uh, is engaged in agriculture. The
Okay,
figures vary from 42 to 60 and all. Now what happens is that credit is the starting point, but it is not enough. Now I've heard many times from people that, okay, farmers know farming. What is there to teach them? So one is on the knowledge front also. While there's been so much research in terms of new technologies, say uh, new practices, uh, pest, disease control, not much has actually reached the farmers because there is a dearth of extension professionals. Farmers are very scattered, they are illiterate, many of them they are not able to read or access a lot of information. So that was one part. But the other thing, there are structural issues which cannot be addressed only through credit access by the members. Now this is areas where government needs to invest. So first of all, if
okay,
you see, infrastructure investment is needed. Now what infrastructure is needed? First is that a lot of the country is rain fed. So the farmers are able to grow only one crop, which is through the monsoon rain. This is called the
right.
kharif crop. Now, farmers who actually want to take another crop, because only this 4 month crop doesn't sustain you
Yeah,
for the year
really.
round, they need to draw upon groundwater. And groundwater is depleting fast. There are canals and all somewhere, but the larger source of irrigation, say for example in Rajasthan, it is groundwater. So groundwater extraction and the water is going down, water quality is also depleting. So a lot of work needs to go in water conservation. Water conservation is just not constructing tanks or check dams. It also means a lot of uh, ridge to valley approach. There has to be a lot of work in terms of slopes, and it is all engineering based works. Secondly, on efficient irrigation, whatever water is there, how do we use it optimally? So that kind of, whatever government schemes are there, they are not enough. Farmers are not able to access, not many are able to access because of documentation issues, the land size is small and doesn't fit with the requirement. So that are issues which require investment. Secondly, cold storage infrastructure, a value
Hmm.
addition, and post harvest losses account for uh, a lot of the loss which could have been passed on to the farmers had we enough storage facilities, have we enough value addition or processing facilities in the village itself. So if that infrastructure is built in, backed by marketing, then we can actually have a lot of value addition in agriculture, and farmers will be able to get more from their hard work, and it will also create local jobs, an issue which I think we are still trying to address in a big way. So agriculture development needs a lot of investment by the government, and in water, in infrastructure. That's what I feel, apart from whatever can be done through trainings and access to credit.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so how do you define sustainable livelihood in measurable and human terms?
So sustainability and sustainable livelihoods is so much, overused in the social sector, and sometimes it becomes very, it becomes so boring also to hear it again and again. But the fact is that even what is sustainable is debatable. See, sustainability, if what I would like to define it as sustainable livelihoods, one is that the resources which are applied in that livelihoods, whether it is, say, for example, you're growing a crop. So
Okay,
there is soil, there is water, and there is human labor is there involved. So the quality needs to be sustained. So that
right.
water levels have to be maintained, water quality has to be maintained, the soil quality, which is a major issue now because of the overuse of chemical fertilizers and all, that unless it is maintained, that resource sustainability is one part. The second part is the farmer should be able to actually get a decent income for their hard work, and it should also increase over the years. Now, when we see the growth rate in agriculture is less than the other sectors, so if it is 3% or 4%, is the and the farmer is not able to actually even have enough for meeting their family needs. A lot of people need to supplement it with wage labor, or one or more family members have to work in labor uh, jobs in cities, and they even are not able to retain enough for further investment in improving the assets or setting up new technologies. Then it is not sustainable. So farmers should be able to earn enough on a regular, consistent basis. And secondly, the resources need to be sustained uh, in terms of quality and output. So that is how
Okay.
I would define sustainable livelihoods. And uh, simply, there are many frameworks and all, and if you Google also, you will get complicated
Okay.
things. But this is, I would like to
Yeah. So
put
words
it
from an
simply.
expert.
Not experts, there are many experts, but
But you
sustainability,
have
ESG,
experienced it,
yes,
Malika.
yes,
So
we've been
yes,
working on it for,
yes.
I've been working in this sector for nearly 20 years now.
That's so good. So, what does a financially resilient rural community look like to you?
Okay. See, finance is not only savings or credit, it is also access to other financial services such as insurance. So, a financially resilient community, I would like to see, or how I would define is one where they are able to save their money safely in their local context. There are still banks are far off, still people are being cheated by chit funds and all. So,
Yeah.
financially resilient communities would be one, financially literate, who are aware of fraud, who are aware of uh, investments like we have applications for mutual fund investment and all. We have also tried a little bit micro saving and all, but there are
Okay.
regulatory issues for people to save small amounts and then they don't have that kind of internet. So there have to be saving opportunities, safe saving opportunities apart from the SAGs also. Secondly, they should be able to access loans individually also, and not all their lives. If they are going to receive credit only through their groups, then the banking system would also have failed them despite being so good with the repayment which is demonstrated in the SHGs. And thirdly, I feel is that insurance, not only life insurance and health insurance, many government schemes are having universal coverage, but people are not aware. So that insurance literacy is also very important. So with the knowledge, with the awareness, and with the access in their local village or panchayat at least for all these options, I would say that would be a financially resilient community.
Lovely. So, does climate change also, reshape rural livelihood strategies? Because yes, I believe.
Yes, climate change is not only what we are witnessing in urban areas, but rural livelihoods are being severely impacted by climate change. Uh, so what even personally what I've seen in our project areas is that there are long dry spells of monsoon. So the farmers sow the crop, they've taken loan to buy a very costly seed, say for example groundnut or other crops, and after one rain there is a long dry spell. Now the entire uh, sowing needs to be done again, for which you need to invest more. So that
Yeah.
I've seen the uh, impact myself. There have been, like we had COVID. Now 2 years back there was lumpy skin outbreak in starting from Pakistan and traveling to Western India, Rajasthan, Gujarat were majorly affected. So many cattle, especially cows, died. So this was also a sort of uh, uh, human to animal, that kind of transfer. So we are really able to see, and suddenly there are temperature changes, heat waves have caused damage to the standing wheat crop. So these are also erratic events. Now monsoons and all are unpredictable, but what happens is that if we the frequency of such events have been increasing. Pankaj and team at CMF where we work have also done analysis that while the amount of rainfall in a given year has remained constant, the number of days of rainfall has reduced, which means there are flash floods, which means that by the time the water gets absorbed in the soil, there is the build-up and then there is damage to crops. So we are seeing that. In addition, for people who are working, a lot of rural people are working in construction sector and others, heat waves and the temperatures are causing a lot of health issues.
Okay.
There are many studies you might also have come across which have now documenting what street vendors are facing in this harsh climates when they are out. So that is also impacting a lot of people, the rural people working in urban areas or in the rural areas. So much needs to be done in terms of climate change adaptation, mitigation, and a number of non-profits as also the governments have started taking note and started working on this.
So simple, wherever you are, challenges is what you face.
Yes, yes, and that's why what Pankaj asked, I feel that young people should take some challenges, should actually see,
Initially,
and rural areas are the best place to actually see what
what
the
the
majority
reality
of
will
the
be.
country goes through.
The reality of life. So
Yes.
Pankaj, what do you want to add to what Malika is talking about?
Uh, One thing, like Malika mentioned about this agriculture, people, 42%, or the data is 42 to 60% people engaged in agriculture, and And if we see another side of it, how much they are earning, like these 40 to 60% people are earning, they are contributing 16% to the GDP of the agriculture is contributing.
Okay.
So that engagement actually doesn't is not giving much of an like income opportunities, the agriculture. So when Malika was mentioning about this sustainable livelihood and this financially resilient community, so one aspect is also that beyond agriculture, what more choices for the youth get more choices for their engagement, like beyond agriculture, and the land holdings are becoming less and less.
Okay.
So um, they are divided among the brothers, and so actually the problem is very the problem in the rural areas are complex, and we need youth right minds to for that. And there are many organizations working on that, but yes, this is a challenging thing. And um, so we at development sector also need to keep evolving for the upcoming challenges. So
Okay.
that is I want to add.
Okay, so we're all, in the grooming of facing challenges, but I think that's, finding a solution is the way of life.
Yes, yes.
I think this one point which Pankaj mentioned on having more opportunities for the rural youth also. See,
Mm.
already they are disadvantaged in terms of uh, the education, in terms of the quality of education, and they do not have exposure. So they are, there is no coaching available in rural areas. And of course, they cannot, many of them cannot pay, but they are really lagging behind on many aspects. So, what opportunities, how we can actually bring tech to villages and how we can help them leverage the digital learning platforms, that's also very important. And otherwise, it is the divide is actually growing, like what Pankaj also mentioned, and we're not able to actually see that the terms of income definitely per capita it's very starkly growing, but for you rural youth also the opportunities, it's very difficult for them to access what the urban children are able to get. So,
Okay. Okay. So can you share a story of a woman or a farmer whose transformation has stayed with you deep?
so I'll share the story of a tribal lady who worked, who was associated with one of our projects. We work in Rajasthan, and there is this district Sirohi, which is essentially largely tribal dominated. It is close to Gujarat border. A
Okay.
lot of people here, they have very small land holdings. They were originally dependent a lot on forest, but west forest covers have reduced. Then they're doing some farming. A lot of them work in cities as wage labor, etc. This area or this district is also known as the silicosis hub in the country. So a
Silicon
lot of
sub.
silicosis. So silicosis is essentially a lung disease, and when you are
Okay.
engaged in stone mining, stone quarries, or here a lot of people are into stone monument making, marble monument making. So
Okay.
all
Okay.
the
Uh-huh.
temples, etc., they have their factories here, so
So it has its
prefabricated.
impact on health.
Yes. So they actually then they die very young. So uh, a lady, she was actually married. Bubbly Bai was her name. She was married at 16 years, and uh, she then started. She joined uh, our program on a goat-based livelihood. So goats are popular here, but there is, they die because of lack of health services. So we trained a lot of women. We called them Pashu Sakhis. A lot of NGOs are working on this model. It
So
was
you train
exported.
them on how to rear these goats.
How to treat. So other people are rearing. but there needs to be some people who can actually go and treat them, or
Okay.
preventive deworming, preventive care, clean, keeping the sheds clean, etc. So this was very small, and used to pay them around 1,000 rupees a month. So slowly, and with the support and encouragement of our team, one of my colleagues, Himlata, was very instrumental in that. She cleared class 8, then she cleared class 10. Her husband was used to work in the stone mines, and he
Okay.
got silicosis, and she was very helpless. She definitely needed more income, and so then our team encouraged her to apply for this constable job, and they also supported her for training, physical training, and through a lot of hardship. She had two children, and her husband's health was also failing. She finally got selected as a constable, and then she joined duty. It was really transformational. Then her husband passed away also. So, but it was very heartening to see the journey of a woman who was uh, started her career as she did not stop, and she pursued, and she braved all these hardships, and
Okay. So where is Bubbly now?
she's posted as a constable in Sirui, and she's also preparing for more exams within the police line
Okay.
itself. And it is a matter of
Motivated to even
proud,
hear
yes,
these kind of,
and it is also, it feels happy to be part of the journey, having contributed in
yeah,
some
I,
way. There are women who have in this same area whose parents have been affected by silicosis. Then they have joined this general duty assistant course. They have now are engaged in hospitals and are earning 12,000, 15,000. So it is heartening to see women come out. Uh, but they need a lot of encouragement and guidance. They are very hardworking. They can work harder, and they do work harder than a lot of us in urban areas. But some right guidance, some where are the courses, some encouragement, some counseling of their families, that let your child go, she will be safe. What the society will say. There are a
experience
number
it.
of
Yeah.
constraints, but if we are able to help them through this, then there's no looking back for them, and they also then become role models for their community. And you need to invest in the initial few, and later on it is a self perpetuating kind of sort of cycle. So that's what has been very heartening, and a lot of them have also mentored other women, other people from their communities, other youth, and that is what is most transformational in an area.
Wonderful. So what has rural India taught you that no classroom has ever done, or or any classroom could ever do?
Uh, I think resilience is something which I have learned. I'm not sure, there are a lot of people who feel that government taxpayers' money is going into subsidies for there is farmers are not getting anything. The amount of hard work they do. You have
Yeah.
to prepare your field in
Physical
harsh
work.
summer. Standing in such heat and plowing your field in winters, standing there, the electricity comes at night, standing in the field and changing water channels. It is so much hard work. There are you people need to sleep at the field in night because to ward off wild animals which come. I'm not sure if you read Munshi Premchand's Poos Ki Raat. This was a
Yeah.
story which I was in, and you know that reality that you have to live in the field because some cow, some nilgai will come to a field. They do so much,
Yes.
and they are left to the vagaries of nature. Climate change is increasing. We really need to learn resilience
What
from them and
strong
respect.
mindsets you will
Yes,
get, no, at one go.
yes,
Which I think in this modern world we are trying to build, but to get it, I think we'll have to experience what you're talking about.
yes. So we need to show, everybody needs to do their bit to support, provide solutions to the issues of farmers. From it has to be cross-functional, cross sector experts need to come and just not feel that we are, as taxpayers, we are doing some, you know, we are doing, we are obliging them. It is not the case. It is the other way around. We should be grateful that they are working so hard to
Yeah.
produce food. They're not, the labor cost, etc., is not at all rewarded in these cases. So that resilience is what I've learned. And the second thing is that they've been more open to mentor others. If they have got something, it's not that that knowledge they keep it to themselves. They, and especially women, are very forthcoming in sharing that knowledge so that
Hmm.
others also do well. This is a trait which maybe is fast dying off in other areas, but rural area still has a lot of this mutual support and uh, mm, mutual help.
Nice. Okay. So, if you could plant one seed of change today in rural development, what would it be?
So besides what already mentioned, that a lot of infrastructure related investment is needed in agriculture, I personally feel that we need to do a lot more in terms of infrastructure, the facilities in schools in government areas, and now we also work in education. See, unless uh, if if there are no schools offering science streams in Rajasthan, if you see only uh, one third of the schools are offering science in grades 11 and 12, then and of these also not more than 50% have labs, and we don't know about the functionality. Then how will these children actually uh, compete with the
Okay.
urban area? So a lot of investment in STEM needs to be done. Smart
Hmm.
classes have come up, but infrastructure maintenance is an issue, power is an
Yes.
issue. So a lot of investment needs to go in quality education and pathways in science, especially for rural children, especially girls. Unless we do that, we will not be able to actually capitalize on the demographic dividend which we have. So we do say that we have, but you need to capitalize on that demographic dividend. Na? So that is what I feel.
Beautiful. So I think we've like almost at the fag end of today's conversation. If every person in this room could carry forward just one action or awareness, I think action is a better term, from today's conversation, what would it be?
I think what Malika said initially, when I asked the question about the youth,
Okay.
how motivated, and
That's for the youth. So does it go for everybody?
it goes for everybody. Like what action for, I would like for me to take up, yeah, for my friends who can take up, is that to give their children an exposure, an intensive kind of thing in the rural areas, so they
Yeah.
carry it forward in their life. They work here for a long time or not, that doesn't matter. But what matters is that they get the experience and what happens in the village, what happens in the panchayat, and there are a lot of governance and like learning, like how these panchayats are managed, how rural areas are, the communities sustained. So that kind of experience, if I am able to give to my daughter, or my friends are able to give like 2 to 3 months or 1 year of, so that thing I think will take forward.
Beautiful. So rural
Right.
experience at an early career is a great experience.
Even when they are in schools, I think that's what will help them appreciate. And you know, the other thing which I would like to say is that on, since the talk also you are organizing as a series on Women's Day, which is on 8th March, women need to support women to come into the workforce, whether it's rural areas or urban areas. See, unless our female labor participation, workforce participation is very low, and it is actually reducing. It has not kept up in the urban area. So in rural, it is largely in the informal sector.
Yeah.
But we need to do a lot more for women to come up into enterprises. There are still issues of patriarchy in rural areas, where you cannot go there, who will go, how will you go. So there is a lack of confidence also. It also stems because there are not women in different sectors. So unless we have, and then it becomes cyclical. So if women support more women to come in the workforce, whether it's your daughter-in-laws, whether it's your sister-in-laws, or it could be even supporting your domestic help in some way through opening an NPS account or helping her with some bank account, I think that is going to go a long way. And so when we get women in workforce and a lot of women, it will become a safe place for women, and we will actually truly make it a very inclusive sort of country. Unless we do that, both for the rural youth as also for women, I think that's where everybody can try to do their bit.
Beautiful. Okay. So, Pankaj, one word about today's session.
Uh, Not one word, but I like the way how you structured the interview. So that session, so and it was heartening to see that someone from out of the sector is putting the questions in a way, and I really like whatever Malika has said, that many things we
Yeah.
will take away from that talk, and even the questions which were asked, especially that, like you asked about the financial resilient communities. How do you imagine so even when Malika responded to that question, it was the question was very well put, and the response was also very good. So it was very enriching. So not one word, but I really like the session. I hope that more and more people who do not have an exposure to the sector get to
Hear
hear
this
this.
conversation. Yes, I mean that's me. So when I 1 hour before I was no way lost in this topic, and right now at least I have an empowering lesson and knowledge, and it feels good to know that it's all happening. So thank you so much. So Pankaj, we'll see you soon on this platform from your perspective. So until then, thank you, Malika, for all your time. So look forward to many more topic discussions in future. And thank you once again. Bye bye.
Thank you, Rajita. Thank you for having me, and look forward to be part of as thoughts conversations and look and learn about diverse topics, and that actually enriches. So diversity is strength, whether in exposure or whether in learning through such discussions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.